You have a brilliant idea, something that could change the world or solve a nagging problem. You pour years into developing it, and when you finally release it, it's a massive success. But then, people start using your creation in ways you never intended. Suddenly, your life's work becomes a source of regret. Today we're exploring the unintended consequences of innovation, through the eyes of the inventors themselves. These are stories of creators who, looking back, wish they could put the genie back in the bottle. From world-changing tech to everyday office furniture, their regrets are both fascinating and heartbreaking. We'll break down 8 stories, the invention, the original goal, and why the inventor came to regret it. If you're into stories about tech, history, and the complexity of human ingenuity, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. First up, Alfred Nobel, the name behind the Nobel Prize. Nobel invented dynamite, hoping to make construction and mining safer and more efficient. He wanted to help humanity build, not destroy. But dynamite quickly became a tool of war, used for unprecedented destruction. Nobel, a pacifist at heart, was horrified to see his invention used to kill. The turning point came when a newspaper mistakenly published his obituary, calling him the Merchant of Death. Realizing this would be his legacy, Nobel was devastated. He became obsessed with changing how the world would remember him. Using his fortune, he established the Nobel Prizes to reward those who benefit humanity. The Peace Prize, in particular, was his attempt to counterbalance the harm caused by dynamite. Nobel's story is a powerful example of an inventor trying to undo the unintended consequences of his creation. He wanted his name to be associated with progress and peace, not destruction. The Nobel Prizes remain his lasting effort to reshape his legacy. It's a reminder that even the best intentions can have explosive results. Sometimes, the only way to fix a legacy is to build a new one. Mikhail Kalashnikov designed the AK-47 to protect his homeland, reliable, simple, and easy to use. It was meant to defend, not to terrorize, but its simplicity and low cost made it the weapon of choice for insurgents, terrorists, and criminals worldwide. Over 100 million AK-47s have been produced, fueling violence across the globe. Kalashnikov was tormented by the human cost of his invention. He insisted he created it for defense, not for crime or terror. In his final years, he wrote of his unbearable spiritual pain, questioning if he was to blame for the deaths caused by his rifle. His story is a haunting reminder: even inventions meant for protection can become symbols of violence. The AK-47's legacy is one of both technical brilliance and deep regret. Kalashnikov wished he'd invented something to help people, like a lawnmower. Instead, he left behind a weapon that changed the world, for better and for worse. Sometimes the weight of an invention is heavier than its creator can bear. Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web to connect people and share knowledge freely. His vision was a decentralized, open, and empowering space. But today, the web is dominated by tech giants, surveillance capitalism, and misinformation. Berners-Lee never imagined his creation would be used to manipulate, divide, and track people. He's deeply concerned about privacy erosion and the rise of echo chambers. Instead of empowering users, the web often exploits them. Driven by regret, Berners-Lee is now working to reinvent the web with projects like Solid, aiming to return control to users. He's fighting for a mid-course correction, hoping to restore his original vision. His story shows that even the most revolutionary inventions can be twisted by profit and power. The web's promise remains, but its pitfalls are a lesson in unintended consequences. Berners-Lee hasn't given up, he's just getting started on fixing what went wrong. The web's future is still being written, and its inventor is determined to steer it back on course. The cubicle, synonymous with corporate monotony, was invented by Robert Probst to liberate office workers. He envisioned flexible, dynamic workspaces that fostered creativity and individuality. But companies cut costs, turning his design into cramped, soul-crushing boxes. The cubicle became a symbol of everything Probst wanted to destroy: conformity and dehumanization. He was horrified by the cubicalization of people, calling it monolithic insanity. Probst spent his later years disavowing the modern cubicle farm. His vision was corrupted by corporate cost-cutting and misunderstanding. Instead of empowering workers, his invention became their prison. The cubicle's story is a cautionary tale. Good intentions can be lost in translation. Probst wanted to improve lives, but his name became linked to the very thing he despised. Sometimes the world takes your idea and runs in the wrong direction. The result? A legacy of regret, boxed in by beige walls. The lesson design can be twisted by those who implement it. Ethan Zuckerman invented the pop-up ad, a quick fix for advertisers but a curse for users. He was just trying to separate ads from questionable content, not annoy the world. The pop-up ad spread like wildfire, making the web a minefield of interruptions. Zuckerman has publicly apologized, calling it the original sin of the web. He sees it as the moment the internet's business model shifted toward intrusive advertising. The pop-up ad paved the way for surveillance capitalism and clickbait. Zuckerman's regret isn't just about annoyance. It's about shaping a web that values ad revenue over user experience. He never intended to make the web adversarial. His story is a warning. Small technical fixes can have massive, lasting consequences. The pop-up ad changed how we interact with the internet, and not for the better. Sometimes a simple solution creates a much bigger problem. Zuckerman's legacy is a lesson in unintended impact. The web's original sin still haunts us today. John Sylvan invented the K-Cup for fresh, single-serve coffee. No mess, no waste, or so he thought. The convenience was irresistible and K-Cups took over homes and offices. But billions of non-recyclable pods ended up in landfills, creating a massive environmental problem. Sylvan never anticipated the scale of the waste. He's now one of the most vocal critics of his own invention. He doesn't own a Keurig and regrets the environmental impact. The company made billions, but Sylvan sold his stake early and didn't profit from the boom. Efforts to make recyclable pods came too late for the mountains of plastic already created. Sylvan's story is a cautionary tale about prioritizing convenience over sustainability. A small solution to stale office coffee became a global pollution problem. Sometimes solving one problem creates another, much bigger one. The K-Cup's legacy is a bitter aftertaste for its inventor. Convenience, it turns out, can be costly. Cameron Logman helped develop pepper spray for law enforcement, a non-lethal alternative to guns. It was meant to save lives, used only as a last resort. But soon, police used it to break up peaceful protests and punish restrained people. Logman was horrified to see his invention used for oppression, not defense. He became an outspoken critic, testifying against police departments that misused pepper spray. His guidelines were ignored, and his creation became a tool of abuse. Logman's story is about fighting to reclaim the purpose of your own invention. He wanted to reduce violence, not enable it. The misuse of pepper spray is a stark example of how good intentions can be weaponized. Logman now works to ensure it's used properly, but the damage is done. Sometimes, inventors must become activists to protect their original vision. Philo Farnsworth invented electronic television, dreaming it would educate and unite humanity. He imagined symphonies, lectures, and cultural events broadcast into every home. But TV became dominated by commercials, sitcoms, and mindless entertainment. Farnsworth was deeply disappointed, believing his invention was squandered. He rarely let his own children watch TV, calling it an intellectual vacuum. The potential for enlightenment was lost to commercial interests. Farnsworth's struggle and disillusionment haunted him for the rest of his life. He once said he had created a monster, not a miracle. His story is a tragic reminder. Even the greatest inventions can fall short of their promise. The dream of educating the world was replaced by distraction. Farnsworth's legacy is bittersweet, a gift to the world, but not the one he intended. Sometimes the world isn't ready for your vision. 8 inventors, 8 stories of regret. Their creations changed the world, but not always for the better. Innovation is unpredictable. What starts as progress can become a problem. Some inventors try to fix what went wrong, others are left with disappointment. These stories remind us, every tool has the potential for good and bad. The creator's intent is just the beginning. The rest is up to us. Let us know which story surprised you most, or if we missed any inventors with regrets. Thanks for watching, see you next time. Next.